When you talk about military matchups, a lot of the time it comes down to the elites, right? The absolute best of the best. Well, today, we're putting the land forces of two neighbors, Thailand and Cambodia, right under the microscope. We're going to look at everything from their top-tier special forces all the way to their main battle tanks. So let's just dive right in.
But let's kick things off with that one classic question that always gets people fired up. If you could take the most elite special forces unit from each country and just pit them against each other, who actually comes out on top? To even begin to answer that, we really need to get to know these units. So we're going to peel back the layers and see what makes these guys tick, what makes them so formidable. Okay, so first up, let's meet the contenders. You've got Cambodia's special forces on one side, and on the other, Thailand's legendary Ranger Assault Unit. And to really get a feel for this matchup, you have to start with their fundamental identity, who they are as fighters.
And right away, you see this huge difference in their whole philosophy. Cambodia's special forces, think of them as these versatile, modern operators. They're trained for a massive range of missions, kind of like you'd see in a lot of international forces. But then you have the Thai Ranger Assault Unit, and they're a whole different breed. These guys are the definition of battle-hardened guerrilla warriors, literally forged in the fires of real, boots-on-the-ground conflict. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Our source material points to something called the T-Dead, which basically means their ace in the hole, their key advantage. For the Cambodian SF, it's all about their diverse training. I mean, these guys have trained with everyone, China, Indonesia, even the US in the past. They can do airborne ops, counterterrorism, VIP protection, you name it. But for the Thai Rangers, their ace is something you just can't get in a training exercise. Non-stop, continuous combat experience, especially fighting insurgencies along the border. That's a skill set sharpened only by the real deal. And that brings us to a really fascinating twist in this whole showdown. It turns out you can't just declare a winner in a vacuum. Nope. The battlefield itself, well, the environment of the fight is pretty much everything. Okay, so given these totally different strengths, who really has the upper hand here? As you're about to see, the answer is, well, it depends. It really does all come down to the arena. So if the fight is in the dense jungle or some rugged border terrain, you gotta give the advantage to the Thai Rangers. Their deep, real-world experience in guerrilla warfare and setting up ambushes just gives them a massive home turf edge. But change the scenery. Put them in a city, maybe a complex hostage rescue mission. Now the advantage flips. The Cambodian Special Forces' diverse technical counter-terror training makes them the better tool for that specific job. So for the elite units, it's clear. Context is king. But what happens when we zoom out from that very specific, specialized fight? What about the big picture? Let's compare the main conventional armies head-to-head. And this is where the comparison becomes a lot less subtle. If you imagine a full-scale conventional land war, and let's just focus on the ground forces for now, the differences in what they bring to the table become really stark. Honestly, they become pretty decisive. I mean, just look at this chart on firepower. It tells a really clear story. The Royal Thai Army is rolling out with modern main battle tanks like the VT-4 and the Oplot M. Technologically, these are generations ahead of Cambodia's older Soviet-era T-55s and Chinese Type 59s. And it's the exact same story with artillery. Thailand's got these super accurate, modern systems like the Caesar and the M777 that give them a huge advantage in range and precision over Cambodia's older towed cannons. And hey, it's not just about the hardware, right? The Royal Thai Army has some other absolutely critical advantages. Their logistics, for one, are much more self-sufficient. Their training is built around this modern combined arms doctrine, and what that means is they practice making their infantry, their tanks, and their artillery all work together like one seamless, destructive machine. And just like their Rangers, the Army as a whole has this deep well of continuous operational experience to draw from. Our source material really doesn't beat around the bush on this one. This quote just says it all. When you're talking about a big, conventional land battle, the Royal Thai Army has a clear, significant advantage pretty much across the board. Okay, so after looking at both the special forces and the main armies, what's the final verdict? Let's pull all this together and nail down the key takeaways. So here's the bottom line. For the elite units, there's no single winner. It all depends on the mission and the battlefield. When it comes to the main armies, though, Thailand has a major leg up in technology, training, and logistics. And really, this leads us to the most important lesson here. Military matchups aren't about asking who's better. The real question is, who is better equipped and trained for the specific fight they're facing? And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. This core tension we saw today, right? The raw, battle-hardened experience of the Thai Rangers versus the modern, technical diversity of the Cambodian Special Forces, it brings up a huge question for warfare everywhere. In today's conflicts, what's actually more valuable? That real-world battlefield experience or a broad, technologically diverse skill set? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.